Krishna is then continuing to instruct Arjuna, and actually Krishna also begins to speak in chapter 4 about transcendental knowledge and how this transcendental knowledge has been passed on since time immemorial. Right? How it was already there, that the sun god spoke it to Manu and so on. So we are, it's quite amazing. So then Arjuna is asking some questions about that for us. The sun god Vishvasvan is senior by birth to you. How am I to understand that in the beginning you instructed this science to him? But we understand that. We understand that Krishna is simply acting out a part when he comes in this world. But we know that Krishna appears and leaves the world. But we know that Krishna is eternal. So really this chapter is establishing that. That Krishna is not of this world. That Krishna is the Supreme Lord. But that he comes on this planet. And so, and we're dealing with the birth of Krishna. Well, now I've got to move quickly. I'm going straight to the 7th chapter. Maya Shaktavala Partam Yogi Yunya Madhasvaya. That one must become attached to Krishna. These middle chapters of the Gita, starting from chapter 7 to chapter 12, these are the main chapters. This is like the cheese and butter. It's that the Bhagavad Gita is made up out of 3 sections. First 6 chapters, last 6 chapters, and the middle 6 chapters. It's like 2 loaves of bread with something very tasty in between. Or devotional service is the topic of the middle chapters. Bhakti, that is the essence of the Gita. They're in these middle chapters. Bhakti. So that is also our aim. Our aim is bhakti. So Krishna is beginning to explain that. He quite, in detail, describes that he is behind everything. He said, Sutramani Ganaiva, like pearls that are strung on a thread. Krishna is the thread. So everything you see here are like the pearls. We have to see the thread also. But when you have a string of pearls, you don't see the thread because it's covered by the pearls. But the string is there and connects everything. So this example is very nice, that Krishna is the string, because you don't see him, you see. But he connects everything. And this is very interesting, because it's true, we don't see Krishna, and still we see how everything is connected. And we can see his plan, and sometimes we can see Krishna's hand. We may not see Krishna face to face, but we can see his hand. Only the pure devotees can see Krishna from face to face. But those who are not that pure, they will see from time to time Krishna's hand in your life. And you know, it's not only for those who chant Hare Krishna. Krishna may interfere in our life. Somehow or other, something we can see that he's there. So many things happen. They're not by chance. Not by chance. Krishna is there. So, in this way, Krishna continues to explain in the 7th chapter, and then we go on 8. He explains how he is present in everything. And the taste in water, the fragrance of the earth, like that. Krishna explains how he's there everywhere. Okay, now, beginning of chapter 8. Come on. Yeah, there we go. And Arjuna inquired, "O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is his material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain that to me." So basically he begins to ask about the material world, and also about the spiritual reality, both. What is the Supreme Person, what is Brahman, and then what is the material world, and all these demigods, and so on. So basically the full picture of the situation where we are. Yes, and it is quite clear that the demigods then are superior to human beings, but yet in comparison to the Supreme Lord, they are also dependent beings. And not only are they dependent, they are also not beyond birth and death. You see. So that's a big thing, if they're also subjected to birth and death. Hiranyakasipu stood on his toes, performed great tapasya. Lord Brahma came. What did Hiranyakasipu ask? What?
Immortality.
Huh?
Immortality.
Immortality. And what did Lord Brahma say? No. Why?
He doesn't have it himself.
What?
Even he doesn't have it himself.
He doesn't have himself. Yeah, how can you give what you don't have? So he didn't have it. So here we have some proof that Lord Brahma indeed also dies. Then what's the good of being dead? You can live a long time and die. Do you want to live a long time and die? Well, maybe better live a long time forever after, isn't it? And better the fairy tale. They lived happily ever after. Sounds better. So yes, the demigods are also temporary in existence. About the demigods, there's something more I can say. From our perspective, they are like gods. Sometimes I give the example of ants. And what attracts ants the most?
Sugar.
Sugar, yes, sugar. I have heard that ants make alcohol of the sugar. Just see. So for us, for any human being, even a child, it's very easy to make it rain sugar. In fact, children like it, to take the sugar pot and to sort of turn it upside down and it rains sugar, if you know what I mean. So if you do this regularly, then it would be not surprising that one day the ants will make an altar and put a picture or a statue of us on there, and we are called the sugar god. Yes. Sugar Dave. Yes. And they will worship nicely and it will rain sugar and sugar. And because for them, they don't know how we do it. For them it's a miracle. How can we make it rain sugar? They can pick it up grain by grain, but they can't make it rain sugar. But for us it's pretty easy. I mean, at worst you have to go to the supermarket and buy the pack and open it up and upside down and it rains sugar again. And the ends, it's a miracle, it's the mercy of Sugar Dave. So, from the end perspective, it's easy to look upon a human being as God. From the human being's perspective, we're looking at the Devatas as gods, because they're so much more powerful than human beings, but their existence is temporary. That's established. So how can they be God? God is not temporary. God doesn't die. God is dead. Sorry. Yeah, it happened last week. I mean, he died. I mean, some of us went to the funeral. Yeah. Then it's finished. God is dead. That doesn't make sense. Nietzsche used to say that. God is dead. Nietzsche. It was written on the wall. And then the next day someone under it wrote, Nietzsche is dead. God.